Did you know that most retirees spend 30% more in their first year of retirement than they did while they were working? Not because they're reckless, but because retirement has hidden costs that nobody warns you about. Today, I'm showing you the real numbers and how to avoid this trap. After my recent retirement advice video hit thousands of views, the biggest debate in the comments was about money. Some of you said you feel rich on $1,000 a month. Others warned that retirement costs way more than people realize. So I dug into the research, and here's what I found. There are 3 categories that break retirement budgets. I'm going to show you the real numbers for each one and then give you a simple 30-day test to see if you're actually ready. Here are the 3 categories: Finally projects, the friendship fund, and the wellness upgrade. Let's break them down. Let me show you what this 30% spike looks like with actual numbers. Say you're earning $80,000 a year before retirement. Financial planners tell you you'll need about $56,000 in retirement. That's 70% of your working income. That sounds reasonable, right? But here's what actually happens to most people. Year 1 of retirement, you spend $104,000. That's 130% of what you were spending while you were working. In year 2, it drops to about $85,000, and in year 3, you finally stabilize around $65,000. That year 1 spike, I call it the retirement gap, and it catches almost everyone by surprise. One woman said she budgeted $60,000 for her first year. She spent $84,000. She wasn't being irresponsible. She just didn't account for what happens when you suddenly have all the time in the world. So what's driving this? Let's look at the 3 categories. First, let's talk about something financial planners miss, and that's your calendar. Most advisors tell you you'll spend 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income, but they're looking at your bank account, not your schedule. When you're working, you have about 16 hours a week to spend money. That's it, evenings and weekends. In retirement, though, you have 112 hours a week. That's 7 times the opportunity to spend. Here's what changes. The commute is gone. You save about $300 a month on gas, parking, and car maintenance. Your work wardrobe is gone. You save maybe $100 a month on dry cleaning and professional clothes. But here's the challenge. Having nothing but free time, this is where the lifestyle leak happens. When you have 40 extra hours a week, those hours get filled. Browsing becomes buying. Lunch dates become a near daily thing. Home projects you've been putting off for 20 years suddenly become urgent. Your spending doesn't stay flat, it spikes. And most people don't see it coming because they're thinking about the costs that disappear, not the costs that appear in retirement. So let's break down exactly where the money goes. The first category, let's call them finally projects. You've spent years thinking, I'll do that when I have time. Redo the deck, paint the kitchen, landscape the backyard, replace the flooring. Then you retire and suddenly you have the time. One retiree said he spent $12,000 in his first 6 months just on home improvements. Another woman said she dropped $6,000 on furniture because she finally had the time to make the house nice, she said. These aren't monthly expenses, they're capital expenditures that hit hard and fast in year 1. Here's the range most people report: $3,000 to $8,000 in the first year on those finally projects. Sometimes it's one big project, sometimes it's 5 small ones, but the pattern is consistent. Retirement starts, the projects start, and the money flows out. And here's the thing, you don't regret these expenses. You've been wanting to do these for years. But if you haven't budgeted for them, they blow up your first year spending. The fix: before you retire, make a list of every project you've been putting off. Go get quotes, add them all up. Then either do them before you retire while you still have income, or budget specifically for them in year one so they don't blindside you. Don't pretend they won't happen, because they will. They'll sneak up on you. The second category is the friendship fund. When you're working, you eat lunch at your desk. A sandwich, maybe $8. Dinner is at home most nights because you're too tired to go out. When you retire, let's grab lunch becomes your primary social outlet. One guy said he's been spending $500 a month just on lunch dates. Another retiree says she and her friends meet for coffee 3 times a week. Sounds cheap, right? But $15 per coffee date 3 times a week is $180 a month. Add lunch twice a week at $30 per meal, and you're at $420 a month just on casual social time. Here's the range. Most retirees report spending $300 to $600 a month on what I call the friendship fund: meals out, coffee dates, activities with friends. And here's why it's higher than you expect. When you're working, socializing is scheduled and limited. In retirement, it's spontaneous and frequent. Want to grab lunch? Becomes, sure, I've got nothing else going on. The solution isn't to stop socializing. Social connection is critical for longevity and happiness, but you need to budget for it realistically. If you're planning to meet friends for lunch twice a week and coffee once a week, that's $300 to $400 a month minimum. Put it in the budget. Don't act surprised when this happens. The third category I call the wellness upgrade. This one kind of caught me off guard. When you're working, you're in survival mode. You grab fast food, you skip the gym, you ignore minor health issues because you're too busy to deal with them. But when you retire, you finally have the time to take care of yourself, and that costs money. Multiple retirees have said their grocery bills went up because they're cooking healthier meals at home. Gym memberships, yoga classes, supplements, better quality food, it all adds up. One woman said her health spending doubled in retirement, not because she got sick, but because she's finally being proactive instead of reactive. Here's the range: $200 to $400 a month more than you were spending while working. And this is the one category where the spending is undeniably worth it. Your health is your wealth in retirement. If you can prevent a major health crisis by spending an extra $300 a month on prevention now, that's a bargain. But again, you need to budget for it. Don't assume your health costs will stay the same or go down. They won't. They'll go up. Not because you're falling apart, but because you're finally taking care of yourself. Okay, so now you know the 3 categories. Here's how you test if you're actually ready for the financial reality of retirement. I call this the 30-day retirement dress rehearsal. Here's how it works. For the next 30 days, track every dollar you spend. But here's the key. In addition to your normal spending, I want you to charge yourself for your future retirement activities. If you're planning to travel once a month in retirement, set aside $800 this month into a separate account. If you're planning to eat out with friends twice a week, budget $240 and don't touch it. If you're planning to join a gym or take classes, set aside $150. At the end of 30 days, look at what's left. Can you live on that amount? Does it feel comfortable or does it feel tight? If the answer is, this feels impossible, you have 2 choices. Choice number 1, lower the overhead. Downsize now. Move to a smaller place. Reduce your fixed costs before you retire so you can have more room for the lifestyle you actually want to live. One couple in the comments said they downsized 2 years before retirement, cut their housing costs by $800 a month. That freed up $9,000 a year for travel and hobbies. Best decision they ever made. Choice number 2, increase the inflow. You don't need a 40-hour-a-week job, but an income hobby, something that brings in $1,000 to $2,000 a month while keeping your brain engaged, can completely change the math. This is why I'm building YouTube as my income hobby. It's purpose, creativity, and income all wrapped up into one. Consulting, teaching, tutoring, freelancing, woodworking, photography, there are dozens of ways to bridge that gap without going back to a traditional job. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The 30% spending spike in year one isn't a character flaw. It's not recklessness or poor planning. It's inherent in the retirement process. When you go from 16 hours a week of free time to 112 hours, your spending patterns change. Finally, projects happen. Social time expands. You start taking care of your health. All of those results are desirable and good, but it all costs money. The mistake people make isn't wanting those things. The mistake is not addressing the fact that they will cost money. More money, typically, than they had budgeted for. So do the dress rehearsal. Get honest about what your life will actually cost, and then make a plan that works, whether that's lowering overhead, increasing income, or both. Retirement shouldn't be a mathematical trap where you're constantly worried about money. It should be a design project where you intentionally build a life you can afford and enjoy. That's what I'm doing, and I'm sharing every step of the journey right here on this channel. Here's what I'd like to see you do. First, do the 30-day retirement dress rehearsal. Track your spending, add your retirement costs, and see what's left. Don't guess, actually do it with real numbers. Second, drop a comment and tell me what's the one thing you're definitely splurging on in retirement. Or if you're already retired, what expense shocked you the most in year one? I'd really like to know. And third, if you want the spreadsheet I use to track these lifestyle leak costs and run the dress rehearsal, it's in my newsletter. The link to that is below. If you're building a retirement strategy that includes purpose, income, and creative fulfillment, subscribe to the channel. I'm documenting my journey and sharing what works and what doesn't. Remember, spending 30% more in year one isn't failure. It's normal, but only if you plan for it. See you in the next one.